ancestral Africa is entering the modern era. Almost all its peoples have taken their destinies in their own hands, and their energies are bent on development. But like in Europe and Asia, the times of deep changes are also accompanied by profound human problems. Africa has come to know the tragic presence of refugees, over 600,000 today. Some fled following tribal disturbances, others because of events in areas under colonial rule. The African nations accepted them with traditional hospitality, but they are so short of resources that the international community had to help. The story in this film shows as an example how a group of 6,000 refugees from Mozambique are being resettled in Rutamba, Tanzania, through the combined efforts of the Tanzanian government, the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, and the Lutheran World Federation, who direct the Tanganyikan Christian Refugee Service on behalf of the World Council of Churches. The land was chosen in a fertile area covered with bush near a small village called Rutamba. Close by are some marshes, and it is here that the morning's work starts for most of the women. Water is the source of life, yet this water isn't healthy. It is a source of infection. The fence should keep the people away, but it doesn't. They have been told at least to boil the water, but new knowledge takes time before it is accepted. One day, there is to be a well here. It is part of the basic plan for Rutamba. In Chilala, one of the 3 villages of the settlement, the day has started. Teacher Jerome, himself a refugee, created an open-air nursery for the children who are too young for school, so that the parents can go to work in the fields. All the men and women, young girls and boys too, are needed to raise the crops on the new land. The first fields that the refugees themselves cleared from the bush belong to the community. The work is planned by a council and is directed by group leaders, all of whom have been elected by the refugees. Today, the fields of haricot beans have to be cleared.
Ahsante.
At this hour, all is quiet in Chilala. In Mambawala, the second village, the Tanzanian Christian Refugee Service has created the dispensary for the whole settlement. The local people too come here for advice and help, for like in the whole of Africa, there are too few doctors in Tanzania. Nurse Bach has come from Germany as a volunteer. Today, Mr. Malongo, the government delegate to the settlement, brings some long-awaited medicaments from Europe. Mijai is the third village. The whole population has been called together to shell the first crop of maize. The quality is good, but the yield is insufficient. The World Food Programme will have to continue its action in support of the community until more land is brought under cultivation. Right now, a wide belt of some 2,000 acres of bushland around the settlement are being cleared for agriculture. Mr. Nyunde, a former Tanzanian government official who now works for the Tanzanian Christian Refugee Service, is in charge. One of the 5 bulldozers used for the bush clearance has broken down. This means delay, and the time for planting is near. His colleagues, Mr. Brandstetter, a Norwegian, and Mr. Tindwa, a government agricultural assistant, went on to inspect progress in the bush. This is an operation that requires considerable skill, for none of the fertile topsoil may be moved. Not all the trees have to be brought down. Some must be left standing to protect the land against erosion by wind and water. Mr. Nyunde continues his daily round. The education of the young is the basis for the future. There is only a makeshift arrangement now, but a real school will soon be ready. Yes, the settlement is beginning to look like a living community. And yet, there are still so many problems to solve. There is one that concerns all the young people. Paul and Swakina want to marry. But it is a tradition that a future husband makes a gift to the girl's parents, some animals or a sum of money. And there are no animals in Rutamba yet, and no money. What can Paul do? Swakina, whose parents stayed behind, now lives with her brother and his wife. The problem is worrying the family. They would like her to marry. The brother can't make up his mind. He is a man who takes his responsibilities seriously. He has started a small trade, converting the empty food cans from the World Food Programme into petrol lamps that he sells to the local population to make some money. When Mr. Nyunde suggests that he accepts Paul's promise to make a gift later, he replies that the elders fear that if the tradition were to be broken, the men would lose their respect for the women. The young people have to be patient and work hard on raising cash crops so that there will be money. Tangasi Mbisi, a 13-year-old boy, is a gifted sculptor. He received some ebony wood from the government, but now he has to buy more wood. And to whom can he sell his work? This can be easily arranged, says Mr. Nyunde. He will send his works to a shop in Dar es Salaam, and the organization will advance the money to buy more ebony. A report has to be sent to Dar es Salaam on the situation. There is the well. The health of the community depends on clean water. Already the pipes are being laid to all 3 villages for a central distribution system. The workmen have reached 8 feet of the 32 that must be dug to reach the underground freshwater river. When will the pump arrive? And then there is the money. It costs $300 per person to provide a basis for self-support under the 3-year plan. With patience and work come achievement. The land has now been cleared and the council is called together to hear from Mr. Nyunde and Mr. Malongo how it will be distributed. Each family will receive 3 acres. They will work on it and the crops will be theirs. What will be grown is a matter of decision for the council. The agricultural expert will make suggestions.
Asanteni sana.
Every head of family now paints a number on his house. And this same number is also given to his fields. Mr. Malongo explains to the whole family what are the limits of their new land. And to each sentence they reply, Ahsante, the Swahili word for thank you. It is a great day when Mr. Wambura, a minister of the Tanzanian government, visits the settlement, accompanied by the representative of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees and the representative of the Lutheran World Federation. The minister speaks. Your crops are in, he says. You now truly live among our people. Your work will benefit yourselves and Africa. Many people throughout the world gave you assistance because they had confidence in what you and we can achieve together. And then the minister asks a little girl if she knows a Tanzanian song. And so, thanks to this work under the aegis of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, life began in the new land for the refugees in Rutamba.